Adamah and Liam's Retribution, Part 7. Liam said, "Oh, we are sleeping here tonight." Walking to the other side of the bed, he immediately took his position behind Adamah as if he belonged in a bed with her. "I do not want to sleep in a bed with you, Liam. When a man and a woman sleep in a bed together, it is a ground for sexual advances and relations. I come into this room to avoid trouble. Please, Liam, go to bed and leave me alone." She tried to dissuade him, but he steadfastly remained. He looked at Adamah with a dominant gaze. "Ada, are we children? I'm not pretending that I don't need you. Of course I do. But if you don't want me, I will leave you alone. I want to sleep. Please be quiet. Let's sleep." Adamah said, "Please, keep your hands to yourself and go to sleep. But I want to cuddle with you." "You need a stuffed animal then." In the middle of the night, once again, she woke up to Liam's touch. She was somewhat disconcerted about the happenings. She removed his hand from her. Emotions flooded Liam. Adamah touched his face and said, "Aw, I'm sorry, Tiger. Are you okay?" He didn't reply to her query and was lying on his stomach. She held his hand and said over his ear, "You will be fine, Liam, if you don't think about it." He looked embarrassed and miserable. She said, "Let's sleep, honey. When you wake up, everything will be all right." Liam felt awkward. He said, "I'll be right back," and walked into the bathroom. Upon returning, he lay down, and Adamah sat to have a drink of water and then lay down. "Wow, what happened here, babe?" Her inquiry remained unanswered. She went into the main bedroom. He followed her and said, "I am sleepy." "It's all your fault if you aren't sleeping. Why put yourself in such an embarrassing situation? Now you are annoyed." She lay face to face with him. He said, "The other bed was cozier, but this one is better." Looking at her, he said, "Please don't mind my snoring." Adamah nodded and immediately turned her back. Once again, he took his usual position. He kissed her neck and said, "Sleep well." About 1 o'clock in the morning, he became affectionate with her. His breathing became irregular. Indeed, she was on Yggdrasil, her heart inclined to accept whatever was going on and let it transport her. But where? To hell. Her senses returned to her momentarily. She said with a ragged breath, "We are not allowed to do this. You are married. What about your wife? What about me?" Liam had caught his prey. At 4:30, Adamah got up and walked into the kitchen to prepare breakfast before taking Liam to the airport. She asked herself, "What have I done?" Liam came behind her and kissed her neck. She turned to face him and said, "Breakfast is on the dining table." Rubbing her shoulders, he said, "Okay," and kissed her cheek. Driving to the airport was overwhelmingly awkward. Both were thinking indecently. Adamah still felt Liam's hands on her skin, and everything else he'd made her feel. She wanted him still and was disappointed in herself for the fact. The scriptures are very clear about fornication. Her friends warned her about Liam and the situation she was in. Liam looked at her face with much regret. Apparently, he didn't utter a word of approval or disapproval of what happened. Adamah stopped at a stop sign. There was no vehicle. About 45 seconds later, a car had stopped behind hers, but her SUV remained until the driver behind her engaged the horn. The driver was upset, for he raced on a single lane to pass her. Liam said, "Honey, please, focus on the road. I wanted to drive, but I thought of watching you drive. You were okay until now. You've lost concentration." Adamah nodded. When they reached the airport, he got out, took his bag, walked to the driver's side, and kissed her cheek. But one could see the misery in his eyes. "We'll talk later, my love." With a heavy heart, Adamah watched Liam walk away from her and disappear behind the doors. Adamah's mind stood still, and the sandstorm in which she was caught blinded her. As she drove, the thought of the torrid morning remained with her. What she attempted to avoid, yet succumbed to as Liam swept her in a whirlwind. She was so flustered and couldn't make sense of what had happened. Her life was taken suddenly by a violent, destructive force. She turned on the radio and pumped up the volume, but it didn't matter what she attempted to do to forget what had happened. Her mind was in turmoil. Regrets. Her regrets were rapid fire, like thunderbolts and lightning. His fragrance lingered at home. Her body still felt him, which made her even more upset. There was no escape. She dropped to her knees on the floor to reach out to God and ask for forgiveness. But how could she? All her friends had warned her. She was so stubborn in her views that even if divinely influenced, she would still maintain that nothing would happen. Adamah and Liam talked on the phone regularly, and he visited her. From the first day, he took the initiative to invite himself into her bedroom and share her bed. He wanted them to embark on that adventure. Tekoa was correct when she said Liam would influence and captivate her mind so that he could have his way with her. He did. She let him manipulate his way into getting what he wanted. That was her fault for sharing a bed with a man who wasn't her husband. What did she expect? Both professed to be Christians, without judgment, but what they did was far from what they claimed. The scriptures say, "You will recognize them by their fruits." Matthew 7:16. Not because Liam was religious and on the praise team meant he was a Christian, and Adamah was a member of the worship team in the congregation she used to go to. Tekoa said Liam didn't change. He remained the same Casanova of yesteryears. Tekoa was always correct. Remembering Liam's complaints about his wife, Adamah smiled. The woman was tired of her husband's philandering ways. She remained at home to clip his wings. If both of them were working and combining their wages, they would have brought home enough to cover the expenses and put a hefty sum bi-monthly into their savings account. Liam, in turn, would have plenty of time to go around chasing women. If the hypothetical story unfolded that way, it would be both ingenious and daunting for her. She deserved a long-standing ovation because she wasn't obtuse, but hyper-intelligent. It didn't matter how she felt about her husband's womanizing ways and his harsh words to her. She should remain there until Liam himself decided to leave the house for her and her child. Afterward, she should go to work to pay the bills. Or if he asked her to leave, the church members would see the sort of person Brother Liam was. Adamah fell asleep. The phone rang. Looking at the caller ID, Oluchi was calling. Adamah sat on the sofa to talk to her friend. "Hi, Oluchi." "How are you, Ada? I haven't heard from you since Thursday, so I called. What happened to you? Your voice sounds hoarse." "I was sleeping. We had an early morning because Liam had to fly back home. He is working this afternoon. Have you heard from the ladies?" "Yes." "What about you? Have you talked to them?" "No, they didn't call. I hadn't contacted them either. For now, I plan to keep it that way. Ada, remember that all of us want the best for you. I hope you can forgive whatever they have said that upset you. I have enough on my mind. I don't want to navigate this road yet, Olu." "What happened, Ada? Can you share?" "Olu? Your friend is tired. Let me sleep and settle my mind. I'll call you." "Okay. If I don't hear from you by 3 o'clock, I'll come to your house. Don't worry, I'll call you. On second thought, stop by, we'll talk. Ensure you come alone if you want to hear anything from me." The phone rang at about 11:30. Lazily, she picked it up. "Hello?" Liam was on the line. "Hi, Ada. How are you?" "I am okay. How was your trip?" "It was okay. I just got home. I apologize if I woke you from your nap. It's okay." Their communication was casual. "I'm going to take a nap for a couple of hours. I'll call you later." "Okay. Enjoy your nap." Adamah took a shower, as if the shower she had taken earlier wasn't enough to refresh her. Oluchi arrived at Adamah's house at 2:30. "I apologize for coming so early. Traffic moved smoothly, only a few cars were on the road. So tell me, my friend, how are you?" "I apologize for earlier. I couldn't speak to you for long. I wanted to sleep. Please, sit down." Oluchi sat opposite, where she always sat. "That's okay. What's going on, Ada? When I called earlier, you sounded upset. Are you okay?" "Somewhat, yes. I have a lot on my mind." Adamah had a framed photograph of Liam on the wall. Apparently, Oluchi had never seen it because she always sat in the chair against the wall where Liam's photograph was, but she faced the wall this time. She asked, "Wow, is this Liam's photograph?" Adamah nodded yes. "This is a handsome man to behold. He looks physically impeccable." Oluchi thought and said, "Well, Lucifer was a very handsome and glamorous being indeed. The Bible says. Biting her lower lip, she said, "If we don't focus on the word of God, the enemy will instrumentalize us as a cat's paw to our own destruction." "You have said the truth." Taking a moment, she said, "3 giants have defeated me." Oluchi looked at her questioningly. Adamah said, "A giant called love, and greater giants called guilt and remorse." "I feel so guilty for allowing Liam back into my life. I didn't plan for what happened. It's complicated." Oluchi frowned. "It happened." Yet Oluchi remained silent, but very attentive. Perhaps she wondered what prompted Adamah to divulge such personal information. Adamah continued, "I'd attempted to discipline my mind and exercise self-control. I tried to distance myself from him, but it was to no avail. What happened was not my intent, but everything went wrong. What am I going to do? My heart is attached to a rotten fruit. How will I pass this?" Oluchi said, "You said you were strong. You knew what you were doing. Let anyone who thinks that he stands take heed lest he falls." 1 Corinthians 10:12. "I feel guilty for encouraging you to see him. I thought you were strong enough to face your heartbreaker, to scourge him for hurting you, and then make peace. The psyche needs to be settled to go on stronger, I thought. But unfortunately, you and I were both wrong in this regard." Adamah said, "I am concerned about what is going on in my mind. I am so distraught. I didn't pay attention during a brief distraction and found myself on a forked road. Being with Liam is wrong, but I cannot keep my mind off him. I feel attached to him as if he were a part of me. What do I do to rid him from my mind? I have more reasons to dislike him than to love him. And what about my spiritual life? What have I done?" Oluchi touched Adamah's hand and asked, "What will you do with that situation?" She looked at Oluchi and said, "The wise thing to do is to stop talking to him. But truly, this is not what my heart tells me to do. My mind longs for him every moment. Even when I woke up from sleep, my heart longed for him. He left this morning. I long to see and be with him. What did I get myself into, Lord?" She put her palm on her forehead and said, "I apologize. Let me get a refreshment for you." She returned with a tray of iced tea and cookies. Her cell phone started ringing. Liam was on the phone. "Hi, Liam. How are you?" "I'm okay. You weren't happy this morning while you were driving. How are you?" She replied, "I am fine." "You are not fine. I've been worried about you since this morning. I had to leave for work. I apologize for what you feel, but I couldn't help myself. You had been distancing yourself from me when we woke up this morning. It was clear you were upset. I'm sorry that you are hurting. I am not apologizing for making love with you. I needed you." Adamah was silent. "Can you please tell me why you were so upset?" "I've always thought about us being together. All I'd been thinking about was you," she replied. "It's disturbing. We shouldn't have done what we did, Liam. It's against the scriptures and my ethics. It's inconceivable to let my feelings go so far. We aren't married. On the contrary, you are married." He said abruptly, "I have told you, Ada. She and I live under the same roof, but my heart is alienated from her. Mentally, we are separated, and she loves it. At this point, the chasm between us is irreparable. There's no hope of reconciliation for us. The marriage is over. The longer we live together, the worse things have gotten. When I don't act according to her demands, she calls me useless or a gadfly. When I evaluate her behavior, she stated that I'm always buzzing around her ears to provoke her. Right now, I'm focusing on divorce. My love, you will see me as often as I can." Oluchi watched her friend with curiosity and concern as she swung her leg. Adamah said, "What about your covenant before God, Liam? I don't know what to think about us. It was wrong to allow what happened. God forbids that. I don't want to integrate more feelings between you and me. Ada, I don't believe God wants his children to stay in an unhealthy and unhappy marriage to suffer. He wants us to be happy. I am in a terrible situation. I want out. I feel happy when I'm with you. I have to be with a patient. I'll call you later." "Okay." Adamah looked at her friend and said, "I apologize, Olu. It's okay. How are you feeling after talking with Liam? I feel the same. In one sense, I hate myself for being with him the way we were. In another sense, I love and want him to be near me, because my heart longs for him. Nodding, she said, I am what I am. I despise what I am. Wicked, a fornicator. With tears streaming down her face, she said, Dear God, you know everything about me and understand my heart. I need your help, but I'm too ashamed of my actions to talk to you. Suddenly, she fell silent for a moment, lost in thought, possibly. Oluchi said, Ada, I'd like you to do yourself a favor. Take some time alone. Thank you, Olu. I will follow your advice. The way Liam and I feel about each other is abnormal and abominable. According to one of the laws of God in Exodus 20:14, it's a sin. I shouldn't have these feelings for him, let alone act on them. I'm a fornicator. I recognize my wrong, but I can't stop my feelings for him. I want to pray, but the scriptures say, if one turns away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer is an abomination. Proverbs 28:9. She gave a sheepish smile and said, Do you have time? I want to tell you a fascinating story. Yes, of course, I'm listening. Okay, she began. I was 3 years old because I wasn't yet in pre-K. Smiling, she said, I remember subjects from when I was 2. I told my father about one of my aunts who died. He was amazed by my memory. Let's go back to the story. My father was going on a crusade. I wanted to go with him. I quickly got dressed and was so eager that I put my shoes on the wrong feet. As he was leaving, I cried while rushing to catch up. When I did, I held onto his leg and demanded to go with him. Smiling at me, my father bent down, picked me up, and fixed my shoes. I was so happy that I kissed him many times. Apparently, you cared deeply for your father very much. Yes, I loved my father. I'm sorry. I didn't know if your dad was no longer with us. It's okay. No one lives forever, Adamah said. My dad said, I had to sit quietly to avoid disturbing anyone. My response was a nod along with a yes. The program's title was The Love of God for the World. The topic wasn't taught in the children's corner at church. To understand the history before digging in, someone read Genesis 1:26-27, Genesis 2:7-9, Genesis 3:1-6, Isaiah 52:13-15, and John 3:16. Afterward, someone prayed to God for guidance. At that time, I didn't know the reference verses, but I remembered the words. These verses became some of my favorites. I sat silently and listened carefully. I was frightened by Satan's subtlety. I was also fascinated and in awe of God's love and Jesus' actions on earth and on the cross of Calvary to reclaim the universe, his creation. I was mesmerized and understood that God formed Adam from the dust of the earth, and that he created Eve from Adam's rib. He told them not to eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. On the day they eat of it, they shall die. Satan deceived Eve, and she ate from the forbidden tree. God desired to save humanity, so he sent Jesus into our world. He made the blind see, the deaf hear, the mute speak, healed the demon-possessed, the disabled walk, fed the hungry, resurrected the dead, and so on. My young mind was filled with information. Jesus loved everyone, but some people were jealous of him. They arrested, abused, and killed him. Silently, my eyes welled with tears from the moment of Jesus' arrest to his crucifixion. My father wanted to take me outside, but I refused. Oluchi listened quietly, but with deep interest. Adamah continued. When Jesus rose, I applauded. That night I prayed, Jesus, please teach me to read. I want to learn more about you. That was my daily prayer. I also asked my father to give me a Bible because I wanted Jesus to teach me his ways. Smiling, she said, Jesus listens and answers the prayers of pure-hearted children. Surprisingly, my father gave me a Bible on my 7th birthday. I was so happy. I kissed his cheek for the wonderful gift he gave me. I rushed to be with Jesus. I ran back to my dad and asked, "Dad, where do I find Jesus?" He laughed at my enthusiastic question. It was probably the funniest thing he had ever heard. Taking the Bible from me, he opened to the New Testament. He said, "Okay, read this." I said, "New Testament?" He smiled and said, "Jesus is everywhere in the Bible, but you'll find him also in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Let me know if you need help." I never asked him for help because my schoolmaster was teaching me. Smiling, she said, "Jesus was in my heart always. I remember many times, I lay on the ground with my hands under my head, looking up at the sky, watching and waiting for the clouds, which I called cotton candy, to disappear, hoping to see Jesus. When I didn't see him, I would go to bed disappointed. As a token of comfort, I dreamed I was in a beautiful botanical garden playing with angels my age. I had these dreams many times as a child. My wish to see Jesus came true unexpectedly in my 20s. I saw him on the horizon and wondered if I was ready to meet him. No one can see God, but I'll tell you the story another time." Adamah reacted emotionally and started sobbing as if she were in a crisis she couldn't escape. Oluchi gave Adamah a wondering examination and asked, "What's going on with you, Ada? I don't like seeing you like this. If something bothers you, please share. I'll lend you an ear." It's not what you might think. When I was 6, my understanding was still developing. When I read the story of Jesus' crucifixion, it didn't quite make sense to me. Despite the positive things Jesus has done, it feels strange to do such terrible things to someone so loving. People unleash their hatred on Jesus, who gives hope to humanity. He teaches us to live humbly. He is so loving and essential to the world, the creator of the universe. Yet they treat him as if he were just a common criminal. I get emotional whenever I listen to or talk about God's love for the world and Jesus' crucifixion. When I was 8, doing my homework, I came across the word sacrificial. That was when I understood the meaning behind sacrificial lamb, and then grasped God's redemptive plan of salvation. At that age, you learned the basic lessons that the Holy Spirit instructed. I am happy, grateful, and at peace about the ending of the saga. It is finished, Jesus says. He has paid the price for sins. God wins. Nodding, she said, I have been disloyal to God. Everything the Lord has taught me throughout the years from the Holy Scriptures, I think that not only is he upset with me, but his entire kingdom is too. I allowed the enemy to infringe on my home and mind. My heart is attached to Jesus and Liam. But the scriptures say precisely, no one can serve two masters. What am I to do, Olu? Oluchi said, you hold the answer to your query, my dear. Your choice will not be easy. You must be firm about your decisions and convictions, but do it for your peace of mind and spiritual well-being. Oluchi said, I love you, and that will never change. I will keep our communication confidential. Please take time to reflect on your life and resolve your problem ASAP. Adamah said, I will do so, thank you. You know, I thought my father loved me, but as I read the accounts of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, I realized Jesus loves me more. I thought Liam was my first love, but Jesus has always been my first and true love. She closed her eyes and added, this just crossed my mind. I have loved Jesus since I was a toddler. So my love and attachment to Jesus have propelled Satan and his demons to destroy my relationship with Jesus by placing an obstacle in my path, Liam. I have committed sins throughout my life, but every time my conscience has nagged me to tears. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she cried, please, help me, Jesus. Oluchi reached out and touched Adamah's hand. I don't know what to do to get Liam out of my system, Olu. Oluchi was pondering. She said, Ada, you and I know that the relationship with Liam is wrong. You should be strong enough to vacate him from your life and your mind. When Liam and I first talked on the phone, I didn't think I was in love with him. I just wanted to see and talk to him as friends. My friends noticed the inconsistency between my stories and my actions, but I didn't see it, nor did I want to cancel our meeting, despite their loud protests. Nodding, she said, now I'm in a predicament. Oluchi nodded and said, you are a sagacious self-critic. You know your wrongs, so fix them. Adamah took a moment to reflect. She said, as vegetation in springtime develops leaves and flourishes, so is my love for Liam. Oluchi frowned and responded, so, Liam is your springtime? Yes. Closing her eyes, she said, ooh, if only you knew how much I despise myself for how I feel right now. Tears streamed down her cheeks. Oluchi said, this is very serious, Ada. Can you explain what's bothering you? Oluchi, I want to sever all ties with Liam as we speak. But amid this, my heart longs for him with every breath I take. I understand. However, you need to build the endurance to avoid speaking with Liam. To prevent his contact, blocking him is your best option. Thanks much, Olu, for your suggestions. Oluchi stood up and said, I have to go, Ada. Call me anytime if you want to talk. She looked at Adamah, then asked, while on that subject, and sat back down. Will you tell our friends about those happenings? Adamah grimaced and shook her head vehemently. To relate this is just too embarrassing for me. They warned me of what could happen, but I ignored them. When Liam spoke, his words made me think about what he was. He probably has a hidden agenda. He didn't realize I was aware of his mental games. Since I'm nothing to him, it's a matter of time before he does me worse than his ex or his current wife. But Ada, insofar as you are too involved with him, his visiting you is one thing, but you've actually slept with him. Straight from the horse's mouth. You've fallen in love with him. Olu, that's what I don't understand. I've been living in a fog ever since Liam's deception. The first time I heard his voice on the phone was like a ray of sunshine breaking through a dark cloud, yet the bell didn't chime in my head. She nodded and said, after soaring into the bliss of immorality with him, a mental chaos broke loose. The consequences of my actions brought me to tears. I cried myself into a stupor this morning, as if the Lord had already passed judgment on me, as if I were mentally watching myself fall into the depths of hell, into the domain of evil. Maybe she did. Despite the mental anguish, when I heard Liam's voice, my hunger for him returned. I feel like a junkie, craving a quick fix, then feeling guilty afterward for wanting what my heart desires. I know that falling in love with Liam is wrong. I also understand what he is about, yet I don't know why I feel so deeply connected to him. What will you say to him when he contacts you? I'll tell him I need time to think. Listening to your explanations and feelings, I hope you are not too far gone. Instead of asking him to give you time to think, block him. May the Lord be gracious to you. Thanks much for spending time with me and listening to my troubles. It's fine. At least I know a part of you that I didn't know. I'm happy you've examined your actions and know they were wrong. Our greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall, said Confucius. However, don't repeat your error. I will not. So far, you are the only person I can speak with. My other friends would kill me if and when they found out that Liam and I, you know. But Adamah should have worried about God's judgment rather than her friends. I suggest you take some time before you say anything to them. Oluchi said, smiling. When you do, they will verbally destroy you. I know. We'll see when the right time is to tell them. Take as long as you want. Baby girl, I have to go. As for now, I am the sole confidant you have. Please do not hesitate to call me. Thank you, honey. Adamah was walking at the door, and Liam called immediately. She quickly forgot the conversation she had just had with Oluchi. Adamah walked a few steps to answer the call. Oluchi, with no doubt, knew the call was from Liam. With a big smile, Adamah said, Hi, Liam. How have you been? I'm okay. How are you? I'll be okay. I need a favor from you. Of course, what can I do for you? He asked. Please give me a few days to think. Things moved so speedily that it consumed me. You know our position in the eyes of God and men. I am distraught about what happened between us. It shouldn't have happened. I need time to think, please. I wouldn't ask you if it weren't necessary. If that's what you want, it's okay with me. Can you please do me a favor? What is it? While granting you your demand, I'll try to manage a few days to not talk to you. 4 will be the most. I'll call you in a few days to let you know my thoughts. Meanwhile, think about your marriage. Take care of yourself." The call was off. Adamah looked at Oluchi and smiled. "I apologize for replying to Liam's call. I wanted to tell him, you've heard my conversation. I am leaving. We'll speak later, Ada. I will call to check on you. Call me anytime you feel like talking. Thank you. Drive safely and I'll keep you in touch with the happenings. I'll be waiting for your call. Please, be wise, Ada." Adamah sat in the single armchair and started to think of her life and the mess she had created. Tears ran down her cheeks. Lying on the sofa, looking over the wall, Adamah's tears ran down the corners of her eyes, for she couldn't keep herself in check. Thanks for watching. Please, like, share, and subscribe.